All right, all right. Enough dream talk, everybody. It's time to get down to business here. Uh, Welcome, everybody, on this rainy Thursday morning. I would like to acknowledge we're on the Anishinaabe Algonquin territory. The peoples of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation have lived on this territory for millennia. Their culture and their presence have been nurtured and continue to nurture this land. The City of Ottawa honors the people and the land of the Anishinaabe people. The City of Ottawa honors the First Nations, the Inuit, the Métis people, and their value and past and present and their contributions to this land. Today, do we have any regrets? No regrets filed. At this point, I will ask our amazing committee coordinator to go ahead and do roll call.
Councillor Bradley.
Here.
Councillor DeRoche. Councillor Devine.
Yeah, Councillor DeRose would like to be listed. He'll be back in 2 seconds. He's in the facilities.
Councillor Devine. Councillor Dudas.
Easy.
Councillor Gower.
Here.
Councillor Johnson.
Here.
Councillor Lowe.
Présent.
Councillor Luloff.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Président.
Vice Chair Kitts.
Here.
Chair Tierney.
Present.
You have quorum, Chair. Ooh, I'm so sorry. I missed you. Oh my God.
Wearing bright blue, and then we have Isabel. It's okay. We got to
Okay.
hold Kate up.
Isabel Skowski.
Here.
Councillor Chaucer.
Here.
Never forgotten.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
sorry about that, Chair.
It's great. It's a rainy day today. We're all getting our coffees into us. So thank you for that. Notifications of meeting information for participants public. So that's just placeholder. We have no declarations of interest. Confirmation of the minutes 20 from June 26, 2025. Is that carried? Thank you. Responses to inquiries. I think, I've waxed on enough about road paints. We have the 2 road paint inquiries. No one's looking to hold those. So we'll go next to, we have 2 presentations today. Forgive me, 2 items on the agenda. We have the Alto High Speed Rail Network. We do have a presentation at this point. I don't believe we have any delegations, but it is a very valuable presentation. So I asked the committee, we'll have a presentation on that. I think even Councillor Dudas has expressed interest in that as well. The item number 6.1, Summerall Boulevard Transit Priority Corridor. I think we all know this is about priority planning. We do have a presentation. We'll most likely forego that unless someone feels the burning need to have that. But we do have 2 delegations that do really want to speak today. I see them in the gallery today. So we'll hold that item. We'll come back to that. As well as we have a couple of councillors' inquiries. Item 7.1, the all-way stop control. This is Barrhaven East. Obviously, there's no delegate on this one here. Don't see. Looking at staff, speaking with staff this morning. Staff, are you fine with this application?
Yes, Chair, we will implement if approved.
Yeah. Yeah, this was on there from before, correct? This was a notice of motion previously presented. So you good? Yep. Yep. Yep, perfect. So on the councillor's report, is that received? Is that carried? Yep. So we'll hold that item. Is it a quick question, Glenn? Yeah, okay. Okay, let's go for it.
So my question for staff is, we have had very similar intersections where there are no sidewalks, no accessibility in Stittsville. That seem very similar to this intersection. And we've been told that there cannot be stop signs installed without accessibility because we are at risk of violating the AODA and of receiving a substantial fine from the province. How is this different than other intersections within the urban boundary?
Yeah, sorry, I thought this was a quick question. We'll hold this and put this on the agenda.
Well, that
We'll
was
go
my
back.
question. So that's a quick question.
Yeah, I'd like to clear the rest of the agenda first in that case. We have 8.1 status update, Public Works Infrastructure Committee inquiries and motions for the period ending September 16th, 2025. Is this item received? We have no in-camera items. We also have the IPD 10.1. This is a report of delegated authority 2024 by Public Works. Yeah, so we'll just receive this. Received. Thank you. This is where we have the motions, which notice was previously given. I think this is probably where you're going to feed in, Glenn, more than anything, is item 11.1. We have Councillor Lowe's watershed neighborhood parking, the watershed parking. Let's see here. We have no delegations on this one.
I'd like to hold that one, Chair.
We'll hold that item. Sounds good. Item 11.2, Councillor Lowe, winter parking ban. I did speak to staff. This is a little bit different than the previous ones. Would anyone like to hold this item? Is this item carried? Yeah, I think we all have the winter situation, so fair enough. So 11.1 is the one item held. And we'll go back to the start of the agenda. So is that satisfactory, Glenn? We'll go to the presentation for the rail. We'll go to the sound law, and then we'll go to the item that you've decided that you wish to, is more parallel to what you're trying to discuss, I believe. Correct. Okay, good. So we'll start off right away with the first item. Great. We'll have Alto please come forward to give us the presentation on the high-speed rail corridor. Very exciting stuff.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and members of the committee. I just want to first take a moment and say thank you very much for the opportunity to come present on our exciting project. It's been quite a 2025 for Alto High Speed Rail. My name is Peter Paz. I'm the Senior Director for Government and Public Relations for the province of Ontario for the Alto program. My colleague, Daphne Hurtubise.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having us today. So I'm a director of engineering within the Alto technical team.
And Alto was established in 2022 as a crown corporation of the federal government with its sole mandate to deliver high-speed rail from Quebec City to Toronto along a vast corridor. But before I get into a few details, I just wanted to spend a moment to talk about the problem statement. And as many of us experience on a regular basis, we continue to see high transportation costs, whether it's through driving or flying. And we also see the challenges within our network capacity. Our highways are jam-packed. We're in construction all the time. Ontario loses about $11 billion in productivity annually being stuck in traffic, let alone our transit systems are at capacity in many, many communities. And then we also have disconnected communities. For someone living in Toronto wanting to go to Ottawa, it is a 4.5 to 5 hour drive, depending on the weight of your foot. The distances create challenges for many people who want to explore the nation's capital. Next slide, please. And maybe one more after that. Thank you. On February 19th, the Prime Minister, along with our CEO, Martin Bleu, and the Minister of Transportation, announced that the Canadian government would proceed with high-speed rail, which means speeds of 300 to 315 kilometers an hour. It would officially call ourselves Alto. Beforehand, we were Via HFR, which was not the greatest name to brand. And then lastly, it announced the consortium that would help deliver the project. And I'll go into more details on that. What that announcement ultimately did for us was confirm high speed from Quebec City to Toronto. It also confirmed that we would develop a corridor that would be dedicated, so it wouldn't be shared with freight or other heavy transit. It would be reliable, and it would be frequent. And when we talk about frequent, we're talking about developing a service plan that has the ability to be every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes. So you don't even need a timetable. You just know you show up and a train will come. Next slide, please. So the scope of the project, again, is 1,000 kilometers in distance, going from east to west, Quebec City, Trois-Rivières, Montreal, Laval, Ottawa, Peterborough, and Toronto. These were the 7 designated station areas identified by the federal government when we went out for procurement back in 2022. Next slide, please. To give you an idea of the impact of what high speed will mean for Ontario and for the country, a person from Toronto wanting to travel to Ottawa can get here in under 3 hours. And some will say, well, you can fly here in an hour, but we often remind people you have to show up an hour and a half early. And if you're checking a bag, which many of us try very hard not to do, you could wait 35, 40 minutes, and you're paying a significant cost. Ottawa to Montreal in under an hour. That is a game changer. And then when you think about people who live in Peterborough, they can access city centers in under an hour now, where it can take up to 2 hours. So it is a dramatic change for many communities within Ontario. Next slide, please. In terms of benefits, we are projecting an increase in our national GDP by 1.1%, or $34 billion annually. And when you think about it broken down, that's $21 billion annually in productivity, $2.7 billion annually in increased workforce participation, and $800 million for tourism. And with tourism, I'll just pause there, and then the opportunities are limitless. I like to use the example of someone from Montreal with a family of 4 being able to come watch a Junior Jays game in Toronto on a Sunday, leave in the morning, catch the game, and still be home in time for dinner. As an avid baseball fan, I'm excited for the Ottawa Titans next year. This year, I had the opportunity to see the Quebec City Capitals and the Trois-Rivières Eagles. And you can do this in such a quick time that you're spending the day versus having to spend a significant amount of time on weekends. We have had the endorsement of major tourism associations in both Ontario and Quebec because they see the potential. They not only see the potential from a tourism perspective, but from a labor force perspective as well. Next slide, please. 2 weeks ago, Prime Minister Carney announced his first wave of projects of national importance. I'm proud and excited to announce that we were part of the second tranche of projects, which will be announced in November, because of the benefits for Canadians with the delivery of this project. In uncertain economic times with our neighbors from the south, the concept of building a project in Canada for Canadians with Canadian goods is one that will greatly change the infrastructure environment for the country. We are projecting about 51,000 jobs between Ontario and Quebec in just delivering the project alone. And that is very exciting, and a lot of work to do to make sure that we have the labor to be able to build. And it's not just unskilled labor, it is very much skilled labor, professions from engineering to architecture and so on. Next slide, please. We have 7 project outcomes that we measure our success by. A few that I'll just highlight is enable safe intercity journeys. That is our top priority when it comes to delivering a project and operating a project of this magnitude. We want to make sure that we're delivering the project with taxpayers in mind. Every dollar is spent appropriately and with purpose. And then the third one I just wanted to flag is around Indigenous engagement. There is the duty to consult, but for us, we believe that is the minimum standard. We see this project as a commitment to reconciliation, and I'll talk a little bit more about our engagement with Indigenous nations in a moment. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, we have onboarded a international consortium made up of European and Canadian firms with vast experience in delivering heavy rail and high-speed rail projects, from CDPQ Infra to Coalis to Sistra to SNC Voyageur and Air Canada as well. It is a vast consortium with incredible experience in delivering projects of this magnitude. Next slide, please. So where are we? We are at the beginning. We are in the development phase. We have just begun stage 2 of that phase. In March, we officially signed the consortium Cadence to be our partner in the delivery of the project. With the Prime Minister's announcement a few weeks ago, we see the development phase being reduced from 5 to 6 years to 4 years, which will get us the ability to put shovels on the ground within a much quicker time. But as our CEO will say often, the speed isn't at the detriment of Indigenous and public engagement. That continues. The program that we plan to continue in making sure that we have social acceptability is one that, whether it's 4 years or 5 years, remains consistent and remains the same. But we do hope that within 4 years, we will have shovels on the ground with the ability to finish segments of the project within 5 to 7 years at a time. What is the co-development phase? It's not further studies. It is actually getting a lot of work done. It is making sure that we get the permits we need, the impact assessment that is required as a federal project to ensure we get the appropriate environmental approvals, that we do our due diligence with engagement with Indigenous nations as well as stakeholders, and making sure that we work very closely with host rail partners. So when you think about going into the city center of Toronto, that we're working closely and collaboratively with Metrolinx. And the development phase is designed so that when we are shovel ready, we are literally shovel ready and we can start construction. Next slide, please. And maybe one more after that. Thank you. What are we hearing? We began engagement even before the project was announced and even before the project was official. And we have an incredible Indigenous relations team that has gone out to the 44 nations in both Ontario and Quebec to begin conversations. And what we've been doing is getting out there without lines on a map. It's opening dialogue, having conversations, and developing a relationship that will last through the life cycle of the project. We've had over 150 meetings, and our objective is to get collaboration agreements with Indigenous nations from across both provinces. Happy to announce just recently we signed a collaboration agreement with the Huron-Wendat Nation, and we continue to do that across both provinces. Next slide, please. And engagement with elected officials and stakeholders, we have been going, I was going to say up and down, but side to side on the corridor, meeting with municipalities from Ottawa to Toronto. We have meetings with the municipality of Tweed upcoming. We want to make sure that we're meeting every size and shape of the municipalities that are in the corridor so that they have clear awareness of what the project means and what are some of the potential impacts. This engagement has allowed us to get significant support before the project was announced. We have letters of support from all the station area municipalities, and a big thank you to the Mayor of Ottawa for his support. We also have letters of support from all the 7 chambers of commerce and boards of trade along the corridor. And as I mentioned, key tourism associations. It is a project that's generating a lot of excitement. But as I like to say, it is the honeymoon phase, and we only get one chance to make a good first impression, and we have to make sure that we do engagement and consultation right. The next Two more slides, please. Sorry, I keep forgetting to say next slide. One more, thank you. One of the key programs that we're in the early phases of developing is community benefits. As I mentioned earlier, with over 50,000 jobs coming to the country, we need to make sure that equity-deserving groups, economically disadvantaged individuals have an opportunity to participate and benefit from a project of this magnitude through workforce participation, apprenticeship, and training. We're also looking at what social procurement looks like to make sure that small, medium-sized businesses along the corridor have that opportunity to participate in the project as well. And in the concept of being a good neighbor, what do neighborhood enhancements look like? The example that I use that easily visualizes it for me is if during construction we need to use a public space for staging of heavy materials, how do we make that public space better than it was before we got there? How do we improve it? And how do we continue to be a good neighbor? So community benefits is an important program that we're developing, not just for station area municipalities, but for the municipalities that may not directly benefit from a station, but will have corridor going through it. How do we make sure we are a good neighbor there as well? Next slide, please. I'm eager to share with you and excited to share with you that we are all in on developing our engagement plan, which will begin in January, where we will go and introduce the program to the public from Toronto all the way to Quebec City. We have a number of open houses and roundtables in development with invitations going out in the coming weeks. And then following that consultation, we are looking to publish a public consultation report that talks about what we did, how we did it, what we heard, and how it impacted some of the key decisions that we're currently about to make in the coming months. Now, when it comes to, one more slide, please. When it comes to our engagement principles, we want to make sure that we develop open and collaborative relationships with municipalities, with the public, with key community groups. We want to make sure that we're open, respectful, we're local. And my goal is that we want you to be sick of us. Here often, we want to engage with communities often to make sure that they have an opportunity to provide their input. And what's coming up? Next slide, please. We're continuing our engagement with municipalities. We have met with staff from the City of Ottawa. We're meeting again with staff in October. We are, as I mentioned, going to be hosting a series of roundtables. We have 3 currently planned for Ottawa in January, and then open houses for both the public and stakeholders through the January and March period. And that's a lot of information condensed in a short period of time, but I wanted to make sure that I left as much time for questions as possible. And I just can't thank you all enough for the opportunity to share the project with all of you. Thank you.
Oh, I forgot about that new ding. That's all fabulous. Orders up. Well, listen, thank you very much. And before we go to, we have some great questions from committee members as well as other people. Please don't finish this before our light rail project. It seems like this is going to move very quickly. But just kidding aside, FCM, obviously, we've met and talked before. We see this as something very neat and interesting as well. And as First Vice President, happy to see this kind of project go forward. And that's why I know there were some colleagues wondering, why did I have this thrown in during the Transportation Master Plan? It's because of the work with FCM, with many ministers, and seeing this as a national priority of sorts. So it's good to see it's advancing. So at this point, I'll go to Committee Member Drosh.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you very much for the presentation and the transparency you're bringing to the work that you're doing. Just so that I'm clear, so this high-speed train, it would presumably use the existing track that would go through the Fallowfield station and end up at the Ottawa station. That's the corridor that you'd be using?
We actually haven't landed on a corridor yet. It is going to be dedicated corridor for the whole duration. Obviously, we will probably need to have joint access in some of the major city centers as we enter. But it will be dedicated track. One of the key components of what we're looking to do, Councillor, during our engagement period is share a wide corridor where community members, stakeholders can talk about areas of concern, no-fly areas, environmental areas of sensitivity. So that information can go back to our technical teams to help narrow corridors and define the proper alignment for the project.
Okay, and so just so that I'm clear, and I understand you're early in the process, that Ottawa would have a stop and there would potentially be a corridor that's not currently a corridor for high-speed train.
That's correct.
Okay, that's fair. I appreciate the answer. You're doing a great job. I wouldn't put this project in the top 100 or top 50 for our city. We've been, I think, advocating for the federal provincial governments to help us with our own inner city transit needs, such as a train to Barrhaven in Canada. I think we can better exploit the rail corridors that we have right now, like you see in Toronto, right? To have a mixed use. And the record really hasn't been good for sharing rail here in the city of Ottawa. One of the things I'm concerned about is that as you go forward, please don't download costs to the city of Ottawa. And where I'm referring to is when there are road crossings, the experience has been, of course, we want to have great separation, but the reaction has been, well, that's going to be the city's responsibility to pay for that massive infrastructure. And that's why the Strandherd Road project in Barrhaven cost so much money, is because we had to put an overpass over the rail network. And we did that because of safety. And of course, there was a horrible accident at Fallowfield that is at grade. And again, the answer has been historically, it's your road, you have to accommodate us. And I think if you're going to do this project, if you're going to have new corridors and you're going to cross city roads, that you should take on that responsibility to make sure that they're grade separated and safe and not download that to the city of Ottawa. So I'm wondering if you could just comment on that in terms of how you see your responsibility or the federal government's responsibility in bringing this project to realization and not downloading the road crossing responsibilities to the city. Thank you.
Maybe I'll turn to my colleague Daphne first, and then I'll wrap it up.
Thank you for your question. Absolutely. It's part of our requirements for safety, for reliability of the system. So that would be included in our construction costs.
Thank you. I'll stand down. Thank you, Chair. Take the answer.
Thank you, Councillor.
Terrific line of questioning. Thank you very much for that. We'll go to community member Dudas.
Thank you very much, Chair. So I don't want to be a party pooper, but this didn't make the first tranche of announcements by the Prime Minister. As you indicated, the intention is that in November, we'll hear more about it. You mentioned that we could be shovels in the ground. You could be shovels in the ground 4 to 5 years. Is that likely? I mean, we've been talking about this since what, the 60s, the 70s? How likely are we to get this thing going?
I'll start and then maybe I'll turn it over to Daphne. Based on the hours that the two of us are putting in, I feel very confident. We are full steam ahead. We do believe that we can get the co-development phase done in 4 years. We've never been this far. We're the only G7 country that doesn't have high speed or hasn't started building high speed. And the feasibility of the project, you can base it on the interest of the proponents that submitted proposals to build the project. We had 3 consortiums from across the world interested in delivering this project, which highlights the viability of something of this nature. We have funding commitment to get us through the co-development phase. It's as real as it's ever been. It's very exciting, and we have a team not only at Alto but within Cadence that are incredibly passionate to meet the deadlines, meet the timelines, make sure it's realistic. Our CEO likes to say you have to make sure you go slow to go fast, and that's what we're doing right now. And it's all hands on deck. So I feel very confident. I can't guarantee you that we're going to be there in 4 years. That would be silly. But based on the level of planning and foresight, I'm very confident that we can get there. But maybe I'll turn it to Daphne as well.
Just if I can add, maybe the differentiator this time is the approach. So we're going with a co-development with an international consortium. We're not trying to do it all, but we're partnering. So I think the experience they bring, this has been done all over the world and they've done it, I think will make this happen for real. I think that's the difference this time.
Okay, I'm not going to hold you to it, but I am excited and I'll hold you to it. You said go slow to go fast. That's my next question. I've been hearing about this project for quite some time and the comments where it's high frequency. It wasn't necessarily going to be high speed, but now the indication is it will be high speed as well as high frequency. Is that a definite? Are we going to see? And the difference really is it goes really fast or we see it more often or we do both.
Yeah, it's a great question, Counselor, and I think the first thing I'll flag is that during the proposal period, each qualified consortium was required to submit two proposals: a high frequency proposal, so speeds up to 200 kilometers an hour, and a high speed proposal. And based on the proposals that came in, the federal government determined that the benefits of high speed outweighed any of the additional costs. So they chose to move forward with high speed. There are some changes with that. With high frequency, you can have more stations. With high speed, the more stations you have, the slower your train is. So right now we are focused with 7 station areas, and in key components of the project, we are going to achieve anywhere from 300 to 315 kilometers an hour. The high frequency is where you'll also get the reliability because we're on dedicated track. There are no other companies on that track for our train over or requiring us to stop. It'll allow us to make sure we meet our timelines and schedules, and will allow us to achieve whether it's a 20, 30, 45-minute cadence at key stations on a regular basis.
Wonderful. I take the train often, either to go to Toronto or to go to Montreal, and you are completely right. You know, you're weighing it's almost like a 7-hour train ride at several $100s for myself and my daughter, or I can take the car and still be there in 5 hours, deal with traffic, but it costs me less and it's faster. I'm very much looking forward to this, but I also know that long when I was on the Orleans Chamber of Commerce and now the Ottawa Board of Trade, everybody's talking about the economic benefit of moving people faster, whether it's so they can work in different places or visit different places. The Ottawa Board of Trade, as well as Ottawa Tourism, has expressed their support for this. You mentioned that the City of Ottawa and other municipalities have as well. I have a notice of motion that I've circulated with my amazing colleagues that really, again, commits to sharing Ottawa's support for this, as well as City of Ottawa's staff's support as you go through the process. That'll come up later in the meeting, which is a notice. Is that something that is helpful?
It is not only helpful, it's greatly appreciated. The support of the committee, the city, and staff is a key ingredient for the success of the project. We're not doing this in silos. We need city staff, we need council to continue to support us and hold us to account. Make sure we get those 4 years. We are deeply grateful for that motion and that support.
That's wonderful. Well, I will be reading that in later in the meeting, but I do think that this is a huge opportunity for the federal government to pay for something that we can then tap into and leverage from an economic standpoint. It'll build a corridor for, you know, Quebec City to Toronto with Ottawa as the epicenter. And I do want more people to come here. I want more people to work here, more businesses to be attracted here, and more people to visit our nation's capital. So I appreciate this presentation. Thank you, Chair, for adding this. And I will digress at this point.
Thank you so much, Councillor.
Great. Thank you very much. And before we move to Vice Chair Kitts, I think, Laura, I think we see unanimous support here. And I typically don't like direction, but in this situation, I think it would behoove us not to take the advantage now. And if it's the will of the committee to add a direction that this committee does support this, would that be admittable to members around the table right now? Great. Can you accept that as direction?
It's a motion, though.
No, but I'm asking staff if they'll just simply accept it as direction right now. Clerk?
Having had the opportunity to briefly review Councillor Dudas's anticipated motion, it does include a request to another level of government, so it would need to be treated as a motion and rise to council, but it could be dealt with as part of this item if that was the will of committee.
Yeah, let's go ahead and deal with it with this part of the item with the specific requests.
It'd be okay if I read it in now, there, Chair.
Yeah, why don't we just go ahead and put that on the screen if we could real quick? And with the will of the committee, can we move this notice of motion directly to the floor for this item right now? Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, then
You can probably just go to the therefore.
I think
Thank
I
you.
mentioned a significant portion of it in my question. So
You could post the whereases later, but we'll skip to the
be it
therefore.
therefore resolved that the mayor, on behalf of council, write to the Prime Minister, the Minister of Transport, and the Minister of Infrastructure to express the City of Ottawa's strong support for the Alto High-Speed Rail Project and to encourage the federal government to maintain momentum and prioritize Alto High-Speed Rail Project through the Major Projects Office. And be it further resolved that city staff be directed to continue engagement with Alto technical teams and report back to council on opportunities for local integration, community benefits, and with major project updates.
Great, thank you. So we'll vote on that at the end as the amendment to the actual carrying of this. We'll go to Vice Chair Kitts.
Great. Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you for being here. It's certainly an exciting project, so it's great to get an update with tremendous economic benefit to Ottawa. Though as my colleague said, we certainly do have pressing local transportation issues, but I have been championing an intergovernmental approach to regional transit. So I'm hoping that this project leads to more collaboration and conversation and ultimately investment. I have a question about next steps. So will you be releasing the network map and then consulting on the corridor, or is that flipped? Are you consulting with communities and then the consultation will determine the corridor?
Fantastic question. We are consulting on a corridor because we don't know what our alignment is yet. And, sound engagement principles that, we support is throwing lines on a map and saying which one you like the most or which one do you hate the least doesn't create a good consultation process. So we are creating a wide corridor. I call it a dynamic corridor. So it can be 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers, depending on the geographies in which you're going. And where it's obvious that you need to make it narrower, it'll be narrower. But what we want to be able to do is get input from the public and from stakeholders, and that will form part of a broader criteria that we're reviewing to help inform what a preferred alignment will be. And then once we have a preferred alignment, we then go back out and say, based on the feedback, based on the technical feasibilities, based on costs, based on environmental impact, this is the alignment that we're looking at, or a narrow corridor that we're looking at, and going back to the public again to get their feedback, make sure, if